Within this lesson, I want to talk about the description tag. So if you notice within the last lesson, we talked about title tags and description was right underneath there. But there is a difference between description tags. We see that it's written out as a meta tag. So it doesn't have its own separate element tag as title does, where we indicate that it's a title. So we're using meta, and the name of the attribute within the meta tag is description, and then that content here is where we enter in that descriptive wording. So previously, description tags were important with search indexing. So they would take a look at those description tags. They would also look at keyword tags. So same thing as meta, it would be named keywords. And they would look at all of these tags in order to help determine what the content was about. And then, unfortunately, a lot of people started spamming these, filling up the descriptive wording with not content relevant information. So they had to stop the practice of looking at the description tag as being relevant for the content that's contained within the site. So it doesn't look at the content that's within the description tag much anymore, but it is still an important tag, and I'm going to explain to you within this lesson why it's important even today. So the way that Google uses them is that it can also use them as snippets when your search page comes up within search. We're going to see that description there. So there's sometimes they'll create their own description, and sometimes they'll use the description tag. So then again, this is up to Google's discretion how they're using that. Another thing to keep in mind, try to keep it up to about 160 characters. Don't overdo it. And the reason again is because you're targeting descriptions that Google might be using as snippets within search results. And another tip, when you are writing those description tags, make sure that there's attention grabbing information, like take action type content. So when people do come up within search results, they might be more inclined to click through them. And that's the last tip, that it can be used to increase your click-through rate within search results. So I'm just going to go back into our search page, and we'll see here that sometimes whatever content is contained within here is actually going to be the content within the description tag. So I had to update my search here so that I could find an example of where those descriptive tags are being used. So we see here again, using those keywords, we see that it gets bolded when I type in test, and we see that the description here for test your internet connection bandwidth to locations around the world with interactive broadband test. So we can see that this is the description that Google has chosen to use for this website. And when we go to the source code and we open that up, and I know there's quite a lot of stuff in here, but we see that exact same description here in the meta description tags. And they've even got some meta named keywords as well. So this keywords, they're mainly obsolete now, but you will find websites that do still contain them. So this is interesting that description is being taken, and that they've kept those keywords in there as well. And as you can see, that this isn't actually harming their results. They're doing really well within search when I type in test. And another thing to keep in mind, and when we look at over here, we say that get some attention grabbing information for that content. So that makes sense when the user's presented with the keyword, and if it's bolded, so maybe that when they quickly glance over and something jumps out here. So here we've got, so if we were looking for part of the world's largest private educational testing and measurement organization. So if we were looking for an organization, something to do with testing, this might well jump out more than the first result. And the way that the search engines work, the more these get clicked, you'll find that they actually start moving up within rankings. So it's always a good idea to get people, and as well, you're going to start driving more traffic as well. So there's lots of benefit to taking the time to write out your meta description tags. And the way that you do that, just go into your code. So within the head section of your HTML, so it's meta, name is description, and then content, and whatever content is contained within that content attribute is going to become the meta description tag for your web page.